Across from him, Jonathan Reeves, a polished, sharp-suited lawyer representing Shingtech Industries, smirks confidently as he flips through a stack of documents. Jonathan Reeves, calmly, Your Honor, the evidence is indisputable. Mr. Carter's injury was nothing more than an unfortunate accident. Shingtech Industries holds no liability. Daniel's jaw tightens. His mother, sitting behind him, places a firm but gentle hand on his shoulder. The judge, a stern-faced woman in her late 50s, leans forward slightly. Judge, Mr. Carter, do you have a response? Daniel exhales, his expression darkening. The room feels like it's closing in on him, but he steadies his voice. Daniel, no responsibility? Pauses, then tell me this, if my accident was just bad luck, why did my safety complaints disappear from the company records? Murmurs ripple through the courtroom. The camera zooms in on the defense lawyer's face as his smirk falters ever so slightly. Judge, raising an eyebrow, Mr. Carter, are you saying there were prior safety complaints? Daniel nods, his eyes never leaving Reeves. Daniel, yes, Your Honor. Multiple complaints. Weeks before my accident. Jonathan Reeves clears his throat, flipping through his documents too quickly. Jonathan Reeves, we have no record of such complaints. Daniel lets out a bitter chuckle, shaking his head. Daniel, of course you don't. Because someone erased them. Daniel wipes sweat from his forehead, exhaustion evident in the slump of his shoulders. He pauses as he notices something. A faulty safety latch on one of the machines groans under pressure. His stomach tightens. He turns to Jean, a fellow worker. Daniel, that latch is acting up again. We need to shut the machine down before someone gets hurt. Jean hesitates, his eyes darting across the floor towards Supervisor Joe, a short, stocky man watching them from a distance. Jean whispers, you know Joe won't allow that. Just be careful, man. Daniel clenches his jaw. Daniel, I already reported this last week. And the week before. Why hasn't it been fixed? Jean looks away. That silence says everything. A loud metallic groan echoes through the factory. Daniel's pulse quickens. He turns just in time to see the half-ton steel beam breaking loose from its suspension. His body reacts before his mind does. A sickening crash. The world goes dark. His mother, eyes swollen from crying, squeezes his hand. Miss Carter, choking back tears, baby, they said you might not walk again. Daniel's breath catches. A lump rises in his throat. Then, the door swings open. A hospital administrator, wearing a stiff suit, steps in, a clipboard in hand. Hospital admin, Mr. Carter, we've been in touch with your employer, Shingtech Industries. Daniel, still groggy, struggles to sit up. Hospital admin, firmly they claim your accident was due to your own negligence. Daniel's blood runs cold. Daniel, what? No. That's a lie. That machine was faulty, I reported it. The administrator frowns, flipping through her notes. Hospital admin, we checked Shingtech's records. There are no safety reports from you on file. Silence. A deep, gnawing horror spreads through Daniel's chest. Daniel, hoarse whisper, that's not possible. I emailed them. I told Supervisor Joe. His mother's expression darkens. Miss Carter, furious, are you saying my son is lying? The administrator shifts uncomfortably. Hospital admin, I'm saying, there's no proof. Daniel stares at the ceiling, reality sinking in. Someone erased his complaints. His hands tremble as he scrolls. Then, his phone buzzes. A restricted number. His stomach knots as he answers. Mysterious voice, whispering Carter. Don't trust them. They erased everything. Daniel grips the phone tighter. Daniel, who is this? A pause. Then, the voice drops to an almost inaudible whisper. Mysterious voice, they've done this before. You were never supposed to find out. Click. The call ends. Daniel stares at his phone, his breath shallow. Someone inside the company knows the truth. Daniel's anger boils over. Daniel, yelling Joe. We need to talk. Joe turns, sees Daniel, and freezes. For a brief second, guilt flickers across his face. Then, without a word, he turns his back and walks away. A hollow ache settles in Daniel's chest. His best years, given to this company. His health, sacrificed. And they discarded him like trash. His phone buzzes again. Another message. A grainy video file from an anonymous sender. Daniel presses play. The footage shows Supervisor Joe and the HR manager in a private meeting. HR manager coldly will delete the reports. Carter doesn't have proof. If he sues, we bury him in legal fees. Daniel's hands shake. His world tilts. They knew. They covered it up. His entire career was destroyed by a decision made in a back room. His eyes darken with resolve. This wasn't just an accident. This was a setup. HR manager on the video will delete the reports. Carter doesn't have proof. If he sues, we bury him in legal fees. Daniel's jaw clenches. His breath is slow, measured. But inside, rage and disbelief churn like a storm. He clicks replay. Again. And again. Each time, his resolve hardens. His phone buzzes. Unknown caller. He hesitates, then answers. Mysterious voice, you got the video? Daniel, who are you? Why are you helping me? A pause. Mysterious voice, because I've seen this happen before. And if you don't fight back, you'll be just another name they erase. Daniel grips the phone. Daniel, low, firm, I won't be erased. S lined with cheap wooden bookshelves and faded law degrees. Across from him sits attorney Mark Russell, mid-40s, balding, sharp eyes scanning through Daniel's case file. Mark Russell, sighing, setting the papers down. Mr. Carter, I'll be honest with you. This is a tough case. Daniel stiffens. Daniel, what do you mean? I have a video. I filed reports before my accident. Mark Russell, interrupting, shaking his head. That video isn't enough. It's anonymous. It won't hold up in court unless we can prove its authenticity. Daniel grips the armrests of his wheelchair. Daniel, so what do I do? Just let them get away with this? The lawyer exhales, leans forward. Mark Russell, do you have a copy of your original complaints? Daniel hesitates. He doesn't. Russell shakes his head. Mark Russell, ShingTech is a billion-dollar company. They have the best lawyers money can buy. Even if we sue, they'll drag this out until you're buried in legal fees. Daniel's stomach turns. Daniel, so that's it? They win? Russell studies him, then speaks slowly. Mark Russell, unless you get someone from inside the company to testify, yes, they win. The camera zooms in on Daniel's face. His mind races. Someone inside has to help him. He just has to find them. Jean emerges from the shadows, glancing around nervously. Jean, Daniel, you shouldn't be here. Daniel, desperate, you saw what happened that night. You know that machine was faulty. Jean swallows hard, eyes darting around. Jean, I can't help you. Daniel, they erased my reports. They're trying to erase me, Jean. Jean looks away. Jean, whispering, I have a family. If I talk, they'll fire me, or worse. Daniel's chest tightens. Daniel, Jean, what if it was you? What if it was your son, years from now? Wouldn't you want someone to stand up? Jean's hands clench into fists. His shoulders rise and fall with quick breaths. Then, suddenly, headlights flood the alley. A black car screeches to a stop. The door opens. Supervisor Joe steps out. His eyes lock onto Jean. Joe, coldly, get in the car, Jean. Jean goes pale. Jean, muttering, I'm sorry, Daniel. He rushes into the car without looking back. Daniel's stomach drops. As Joe slides back into the driver's seat, he leans out slightly, locking eyes with Daniel. Joe, mocking, you don't know what you're up against, Carter. A text pops up. Anonymous, they're coming for you. Daniel's stomach knots. Suddenly, a loud knock at the door. He wheels over and slowly opens it. Two police officers stand outside. Officer number 1, Mr. Carter, we have a warrant to search your home. Step aside. Daniel's heart slams against his ribs. Daniel, what? What for? The officer holds up a paper. Officer number 2, a complaint has been filed. ShingTech is accusing you of threatening company employees. Daniel's vision blurs with rage. Daniel, furious, this is retaliation. They're trying to shut me up. The officers push past him, rifling through his belongings. One officer picks up Daniel's laptop. Officer number 1, reading the screen. What's this? An anonymous video file? Daniel's blood runs cold. If they take his laptop, they take his only evidence. He has to act fast. He uploads the file to multiple cloud servers. His hands shake. His mind is racing. They know he has the video. They're trying to silence him. His phone buzzes. A new message. Anonymous, if you want real proof, meet me at Warehouse 14. Midnight. Daniel stares at the screen, his pulse pounding. Could this be a trap? Or is this the break he's been waiting for? He hesitates. Is this a trap? His phone buzzes. A new message from the anonymous number. Anonymous, inside. Back left corner. Daniel exhales sharply and pushes forward. The door creaks open. Inside, the warehouse is dimly lit, filled with crates and shadows. A single figure stands in the distance, hood up, face hidden. Daniel's heart pounds. Daniel, cautiously, who are you? The figure slowly removes the hood. It's Jean. Daniel's stomach drops. Daniel, whispering, Jean? What the hell is going on? Jin's hands shake. He looks terrified. Jean, whispering urgently, they know you have the video. They're coming for you. Daniel grips the wheels of his chair. Daniel, then why did you bring me here? Jean looks over his shoulder, then pulls out a flash drive. Jean, rushed, voice shaking, because I found something worse. He shoves the flash drive into Daniel's hand. Jean, this is everything, Daniel. Proof they've been faking safety reports for years. The machines weren't just faulty. They knew. They let it happen. Daniel's breath catches. Daniel, they let people get hurt? Jean nods, eyes glistening with guilt. Jean, you weren't the first. You were just the first who fought back. Daniel stares at the flash drive. His entire body tenses. He has what he needs, but at what cost? Suddenly, a car screeches to a stop outside. Doors slam. Footsteps. Jean, whispering, panicked, go. Now. Daniel shoves the drive into his pocket and pushes toward the exit. But the doors burst open. Supervisor Zhou and two Xingtech security guards step inside. Zhou's cold gaze lands on Jean. Zhou, mocking, you disappoint me, Jean. Jean stiffens. His hands clenched into fists. Daniel, angry, fearless, you think you can just make me disappear? Zhou smirks, stepping closer. Zhou, you don't get it, Carter. This isn't about you. He pulls out his phone, clicks a button. Suddenly, Daniel's phone buzzes. A notification, an email from an unknown address. Daniel opens it, his stomach turns. It's an official-looking lawsuit. Defendant, Daniel Carter. Charge, defamation, breach of contract, theft of intellectual property. Daniel's hands tighten around his phone. They're suing him. Zhou, grinning coldly, even if you go public, we'll destroy you in court. You'll be bankrupt before you even get a trial. Daniel's chest burns with rage. Daniel, steady, defiant, no. Not this time. He grips the flash drive in his pocket. He still has a move left to play. News anchor, breaking, a major lawsuit has been filed against former Xingtech employee Daniel Carter, just days after he accused the company of negligence. But in a shocking turn of events, newly leaked documents suggest a cover-up inside the company. Asterisk, the screen flashes to a leaked internal email from the flash drive. Words highlighted in red, do not report defects. Too costly. Deny all claims. Daniel watches from his tiny apartment, his hands shaking. His name is everywhere. His phone rings. It's Mark Russell, the lawyer who once turned him away. Mark Russell, Carter, you just got yourself a real case. Let's take these bastards down. Daniel exhales sharply. It's happening. Xingtech lawyer, Mr. Carter is simply a disgruntled former employee seeking revenge. He has no proof of these so-called violations. Mark Russell smirks. Mark Russell, no proof? Your Honor, let's talk about the files we recovered. He clicks a button on his laptop. The courtroom screen flickers to life. Dozens of leaked emails, doctored safety reports, accident records that were never filed. Gasps ripple through the courtroom. Xingtech's lawyer stiffens. Supervisor Zhou's face turns ashen. Daniel watches them squirm. Judge, firmly Shingteka's motion to dismiss is denied. This case will go to trial. A beat of silence. Then, Joe's lawyer leans over and whispers something in his ear. Joe's jaw tightens. He looks toward Daniel, eyes filled with hatred. Then, Joe stands up. Joe, gritted teeth, we're willing to settle. A hush falls over the courtroom. Daniel's hands tremble. This is it. The screen fades to black. Then, a montage. Time passes. Headlines flash across the screen. Police car light Shingtek scandal, CEO resigns amid lawsuit. Police car light whistleblower Daniel Carter wins multi-million-dollar settlement. Police car light new workplace safety laws proposed after landmark case. The scene fades and Daniel, sitting in a new wheelchair, outside in the sunlight. He watches kids playing in a park, a quiet smile on his face. A voice calls out, Gene. He sits beside Daniel, sighing. Gene, I thought I'd lose everything, but I can finally sleep at night. Daniel nods. He knows the feeling. Gene, softly, so what now? Daniel inhales the fresh air, feeling lighter than he has in years. Daniel, smiling slightly now. I will start living again. Asterisk, the camera slowly pans upward, toward the sky, the sun breaking through the clouds. A new beginning.